Linda Barcz from the Barcz Company here taking your calls at 270-9933. Calla lily, that's very pretty.
Isn't that pretty? So that has been forced in a greenhouse because I do grow some of these calla lilies outside during the summer, but you have to bring the bulbs in. They won't survive our winters.
These are all houseplants?
Today these are all houseplants, yes, and quite a number of them could go outside during the summer, but everything would have to come back in. And it's sort of interesting, the one with the sort of orangey veins down front of the calla lilies, that is actually in the same family as the spider plant over here, this spider plant that's all curly.
Really?
Yeah, it's one that I would have not guessed. But Lori mentioned
Green up the house this time of year, it's good.
Adds oxygen too.
Kind of brown outside. Let's go to Laura in Windsor with our first call. Hi, Laura.
Hi there.
Hi.
Okay, so last year my garden was awful. I mean, I didn't grow anything. Even if I did have something I grew from, plant, it wouldn't grow, or else the tomatoes that I did grow would split and rot before I had time to actually, pick them. Is there anything I should do to have a successful garden as far as like my soil is concerned, and should I get it tested?
Well, what I would suggest, obviously, I know there's no snow on the ground, but it's going to be difficult to do anything right now. In the spring, you could still add amendments before you planted your garden. And as far as your tomato plants, make sure that you move them to a different spot in the garden than you've grown them before. Because if you plant them in the same place, then diseases are harbored in the debris that's left behind. So make sure you clean things up very thoroughly in the fall, move the tomato plants. Next spring, work some amendments in, and we had a very late start last year. I don't know what kind of spring we'll have this year.
Who knows?
No.
But tomatoes take a lot out of the soil, too.
Yeah, so make sure that you're fertilizing them and watering them adequately.
I heard them called the Hummer of plants. They take so much energy.
Interesting.
All right. Kathy in DeForest. Hi, go ahead.
And I was wondering, can you still plant shallots, or is it too cold?
The ground is actually frozen again, I think, in most cases. I know that on some southern slopes, but I don't think that you can actually work in your garden at this point, so.
Wait.
Yes.
All right, let's go to Karen in Madison. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Hi.
What's
I
your
have
question?
a question about how to overwinter a saffron crocus.
All right. Yes, that is a bulb that should have been planted. By any chance, well, here I'm telling you that the ground is probably frozen. It would be better to actually get that. I think it's too cold.
It is indoors, and I did get blossoms and saffron from it this fall.
All right. Well,
I just want to make sure it'll survive indoors over the winter, so it'll bloom again next spring.
I don't know if that will work, but try it. Keep it growing as a houseplant, and then as soon as the weather allows, plant it outside. Usually, mine are in the ground.
Okay, Betty. Hi, Betty. What's your question?
Hi. For Christmas, we received a little, it looks like an evergreen tree. It had little bulbs on it and things. Now, I don't know if it's a plant or it's actually a tree. I don't know how to care for it, and if it needs to be a house plant, or if I can plant it out and it'll actually grow like a tree next spring, or what to do.
Okay, well, since you don't know what kind it is, I'm guessing that Mark and I both think it's a Norfolk Island pine. That's a little house plant that looks just like a Christmas tree, and it is a house plant. You want to water it thoroughly and then let it dry between waterings. Bright indirect light is a good light for it, and it's pretty easy to take care of, actually.
And not something to put outside in the spring.
You could do it once danger of frost has passed, but then you'd probably have to bring it back in. If you're unsure, bring a little piece of it into Barcz Company or a garden center and determine what it actually is.
It's not something you're going to plant in the ground.
No, and not leave it year-round.
No. All right, Jamie in Beloit. Hi, Jamie.
Hi.
Hi, what's your question?
I have a kalanchoe that has finished blooming, and I'm wondering, do I trim off the old buds, or do I just leave it?
The old buds don't look very attractive, so prune that off. And then that is a kalanchoe is a type of succulent, so you don't want to overwater it, but you water it like a jade plant, if you're familiar with that. Bright light, and it won't flower until next year again, but you can get them to repeat bloom.
Really? I
Yes,
never
you
heard
can.
of it.
Yeah, I'll bring one in next week. We have a lot of them in bloom right now.
Sounds like some Asian food, a kalanchoe.
It does, but
All right, we're out of time. If you're on the line, stay there. Linda will talk to you off the air. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
We'll see you next week.
Okay.
And we'll be right back with a final check of your forecast.